Welcome to IAYTV. Let's talk movie rights as it relates to Marvel Comics because some people seem very confused. Today, there exists a studio called Marvel Studios. They're responsible for movies like The Avengers. But before Marvel Studios existed, they sold their rights to other studios. Let's start with Sony. In the early 2000s, Sony Pictures began to make Spider-Man movies. They made the Tobey Maguire movies and the Andrew Garfield movies. Recently, Marvel Studios and Sony came to an agreement to let Spider-Man cross into what is called the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're essentially renting him. Spider-Man will continue to have solo movies courtesy of Sony, with some guidance from Marvel Studios. This new Spider-Man is played by relative unknown Tom Holland. Also in the early 2000s, Fox Studios bought two sets of rights. Firstly, they bought the Fantastic Four. So they put out the first two movies with Jessica Alba, and then they put out the recent box office bomb as well. Depending on how much money they've lost, I wouldn't be surprised if Fox eventually sells it back to Marvel. These rights include not only the actual Fantastic Four, but also popular characters like Galactus, the Silver Surfer, and Doctor Doom. They also bought the rights for the X-Men back in the 2000s, and they've put out nearly 10 movies that are all connected in the quote-unquote X-Men cinematic universe. These movies have been much more financially successful, and there's very little imperative for Fox to sell these rights back to Marvel, at least for a long time. With the X-Men came their supporting characters like Deadpool and other spin-off teams like X-Factor and X-Force. This means that Deadpool can pop in and out of the X-Men movies, but you won't see Wolverine joining the Avengers anytime soon. There were other rights issues back in the day which gave us movies like Ghost Rider, Punisher, and even the Blade movies. Since then, all of these rights have reverted back to Marvel so they can appear in Marvel Studios features or television shows. So Marvel Studios has basically everything else. The odd occasional properties still tied up, such as Namor the Submariner, somehow still belonging to Universal Pictures. But most everything else has reverted back to Marvel Studios. We do have some issues where characters might overlap. Quicksilver and his sister Scarlet Witch were introduced in X-Men but were also notable Avengers, so both studios have the rights to use them. Hence why we have a Quicksilver in both franchises. As far as I understand, that is the only example that's been made public. Even though other characters like Wolverine and Beast from the X-Men served as Avengers, they are not in this same section of the Venn diagram. So when you're discussing the upcoming Avengers Infinity War, know that Deadpool cannot show up, because Marvel Studios doesn't have the rights to use him. Storm and the Black Panther might have been married, but we won't see them together on the big screen. Fantastic Four, we might see that change someday, but for X-Men it's been about 15 years of financially successful movies. So that is a basic understanding of the movie rights as we stand right now, so hopefully that helps. Thanks for watching.